Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. I'm always grateful. This Saturday we have Mindspeak at the Sankara Hotel. We're not at the Intercontinental this time, so you're most welcome. Sankara's in Westlands. The guest is the Secretary General of UNCTAD, and his name is Dr. Mukisa Kituyi, and there is a link on Rich Wrap-Ups if you want to have a look at his background. He's really a remarkable fellow, and what's so interesting is to see the well of good wishes build on social media. And we're going to broadcast this one over the top from Sankara with thanks to Safaricom. I'm deeply grateful for them. Macro thoughts go back to the 3rd of November 2014 when I said the commodity super cycle is dead in the water. I said on that same date that gold will fall below $1,000. We're at $1,096 now. On the 2nd of June, I said that I expected the price of crude oil to print fresh 2015 lows below $44. And Reuters, Jamie at Reuters said hotter than July, US oil futures minus 21% this month. Home thoughts, Ivan Turgenev. If we wait for the moment when everything, absolutely everything is ready, we shall never begin. However passionate, sinning and rebellious the heart hidden in the tomb, the flowers growing over it, peep serenely at us with their innocent eyes. They tell us not of eternal peace alone, of that great peace of indifferent nature. They tell us too of eternal reconciliation and of life without end. We visited the Gari Dare forest and we did a little movie which we've now published. If you care to have a look at that, you're most welcome. Hannah says I'm not to tell anyone that she's featured in it, but you can see her dive into the very cold pool that you find at the top of the forest. Emma Toe, exceptional, paragliding from Borana Ranch over the Laikipia Plateau. We actually took a helicopter from where we were in Sirikoi, which is adjacent to Borana, all the way up to Olokwe, and you fly over that Borana escarpment as you make that journey. Political reflections. Obama warns African leaders they must act to meet challenges. Obama began his address to the African Union Assembly by saying that he came before them not only as the first US president to appear at the organization, but as the son of an African. He also had a warning. The continent's economic progress rests on a fragile foundation, and its governments aren't fully prepared for the enormous undertaking of providing opportunities for a demographic bulge of young people who will need to find work. And everyone speaks of the demographic dividend, but not of the demographic time bomb, because it's a little bit binary, and I think that's what he's alerting everyone to. The continent's population will double to 2 billion people in the decades to come, many of them under the age of 18. Time is of the essence, he said. The choices made today will shape the trajectory of Africa and therefore the world for decades to come. Continent's leaders must do more to strengthen democratic institutions, educate youth, including women, combat a culture of bribe-taking and barriers to starting new businesses, and overcome ethnic and tribal strife, he said. We need only look to the Middle East and North Africa to see that large numbers of young people with no jobs and stifled voices can fuel instability and disorder. Essential to making that progress, Obama said, is excising the cancer of corruption that is holding back international investment and local growth. Drew cheers and applause from his audience when he decried African leaders who cling to power. He referred to Burundi's Pierre Nkurunziza, who was recently elected to a third term, even though the country's constitution limits the president to 2. When a leader tries to change the rules in the middle of the game just to stay in office, it risks instability and strife, as we've seen in Burundi. But if a leader thinks they're the only person who can hold their nation together, then that leader has failed truly to build their country. Made a sharp joke at the expense of those who try to remain a president for life. I don't understand why they want to stay so long, especially when they have a lot of money, he said. Some will welcome the fact the US president has raised some thorny issues, and some will say it's none of his business and we're not an American colony, said an analyst. Took an indirect jab at China, which has been spending on infrastructure projects in many parts of Africa, especially some of the less stable countries rich in resources. While he previously welcomed China's involvement in Africa as a way to lift the continent's economies, he said Tuesday that economic relationships cannot simply be about other countries building infrastructure with foreign labor or extracting Africa's natural resources. Throughout the trip, Obama has used his status as the first American president with African ancestry to both praise Africa's progress and to prod the continent's leaders to do more to expand freedom and democracy. I like this tweet from the AU's Chegwi. President Obama at the AU, I stand before you as a proud American. I also stand before you as the son of an African. And use that to deliver a very pointed message, optimistic, but at the same time twin-sided. And I think, it was delivered with finesse. I said my takeaway from POTUS' speech is that Barack Obama is a political wizard. No one else could have said what he said with such finesse. He said, it has been an extraordinary privilege to serve as POTUS. If I ran again, I would win. I wrote, no doubt. Most urgent task for Africa is to create opportunity for this generation. I can't agree with him more. Ada's Fortune tweeted, Air Force One carrying POTUS flies over large US military planes after successful visit to Ethiopia. And Mark Knoller, President Obama's motorcade, arrives at Bole International Airport in Addis Ababa to board Air Force One for flight back to the US. Submarine Killers, India's $61 billion warning to China. In a dock opening onto the Hooghly River near central Kolkata, one of India's most lethal new weapons is going through a final outfit. The Kadmat is a submarine killer bristling with technology to sniff out and destroy underwater predators. It's the second of 4 warships in India's first dedicated anti-submarine force, a key part of plans to spend at least $61 billion on expanding the Navy's size by about half in 12 years. The build-up is mostly aimed at deterring China from establishing a foothold in the Indian Ocean. It also serves another goal, transforming India's warship building industry into an exporting force that can supply the region, including US partners in Asia, wary of China's increased assertiveness. India's naval build-up is certainly occurring in the context of India moving towards a greater alignment with the US and its allies to balance China, said David Brewster. India wants to be able to demonstrate that Beijing's activities in South Asia do not come without a cost, and Delhi is also able to play in China's neighborhood. India wants to take a leadership role in the Indian Ocean and ultimately become the predominant naval power. This is Brewster. Its moves reflect an instinctive view among many in Delhi that if the Indian Ocean is not actually India's ocean, then in an ideal world it ought to be. And I touched on this in 2013 when I have said I have no doubt that the Indian Ocean is set to regain its glory days. And I was referencing China more than India. China and India's dependence on imported crude oil is increasing, and the US is interestingly decreasing. I'm also certain the eastern seaboard of Africa from Mozambique through Somalia is the last great energy prize in the 21st century. Therefore, the control of the Indian Ocean becomes kind of decisive, and with control, China can be shut down quite quickly. A sine qua non of President Barack Obama's pivot to Asia is US, NATO, and I think we've got to put India, power projection over the Indian Ocean. I'll put up a photograph of the island of Pemba, which is in Mozambique and in the Indian Ocean, that I took from the sky, and another photograph of Ali, the navigator, who navigated our way to an island, Wasini Island, in the Indian Ocean. Again, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi has been sentenced to death in absentia. In 2011, I wrote Gaddafi's body in a freezer, what's the message? And I was describing the raw feed of the capture and the death of Gaddafi and his son Mu'tasim, and how the bodies lay side by side, bloodied and half naked on a filthy mattress in a meat locker in Misrata. John Donne wrote, "Therefore send not to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." And I said, I'm left thinking this dead Gaddafi business is one powerful message. And today Marshall McLuhan's prediction in the Gutenberg Galaxy, that the new electronic interdependence recreates the world in the image of a global village, has come to pass. The image of a bloodied Gaddafi, then of a dead Gaddafi in a meat locker, flashed around the world via the mobile, YouTube and Twitter. I asked, who's in charge of the messaging? Through the fog of real-time and raw footage, I note a very powerful message. The essence of that message being, don't FUCK with us, because you will end up dead and a trophy souvenir in a fridge. I'll put up a photograph that A24 Media posted of Muammar Gaddafi when he was a young man. Currency markets, Euro 110.41, dollar index slightly above 96.65, Japanese yen 123.70, Swissy 0.9625 when I checked last, pound stronger 156.35. The Aussie is now at 0.7304, Indian rupee 63.885, South Korean won 1158.19, Rial, about which I'm very bearish and I'll come to in a minute, 335.74, Egyptian pound 7.82, and the rand 1255.51. Dollar index, I'll put up a 3-month chart. My target remains 110. Euro dollar, I'll put up a 3-month chart of that as well. We're sitting here at 110.40, but I think eventually we're going to trade down to parity. Gold, we're trading at 1096. My target is triple digits, below 1,000. Crude oil, last I checked, $47.80, $47.80. My target is $40. According to Bloomberg, the Ritz restaurant is among the finest in London and also one of the most beautiful. And I'll put up that photograph, and I recall a time when I went and had a very nice meal there, I must admit. Emerging markets, as if by a miracle, the Shanghai Composite shoots higher. Day's end approaches. Turnover remains weak. I'll put up that image. Reuters, Jamie at Reuters, S&P has revised down Brazil's outlook to negative but affirmed its BBB- credit rating. And Holger tweeted of an image of the Real. My target is 4. Bharti Airtel, this tweet is from DNA to Africa and back, and talking about how in 2010 Indian telecom business was a different world, business in the country was tough, wafer-thin margins, and how Bharti decided to expand into Africa. Interesting story. Jobs bloodbath hits South Africa as mining companies cut costs. We knew that was going to happen. Ugandan government spending swells as election approaches, and that's why the Ugandan shilling has tanked over 30% this year. Country's long-serving leader on Monday authorized payment of at least $15 million to members of the country's parliament to supplement their travel expenses as they traverse the country campaigning in advance of the February 2016 general election. This money was already budgeted for because members of parliament were having challenges with the high fuel prices. Critics claim the payment is politically motivated. I think they're right. Major concerns developing in Uganda. South African oil shares up 1.985%. It fell 1.06% yesterday. Dollar rand, my target is 14. Let me put up a 6-month chart. Egyptian stock market up 0.79% yesterday. It's down 10.945% year to date. Nigerian oil shares down 11.66% year to date. Ghana stock composite index is down 0.3095% year to date. National Bank issued their first half results yesterday. Pretty eye-popping at first glance. Profit before tax up 98.91%, earnings per share up 104.33%. Sunil Sangar tweeted me, the rise in profits in Q2 is from writing back NPL provisions. Ratio of provisions to NPLs at 11.2% versus 32.5% in Q1. Risk-weighted assets down from 88.6 billion to 80.6 billion despite increase in lending. This is all Sunil. Banking industry's ratio of provisions to NPLs is 41.3. Ratio of 11.2% is far below all other listed banks. Kenya shilling, when I looked last, was 102.43. The Nairobi all share is down 6.01% year to date as of this morning, but bounced a marginal 0.05% yesterday. NSE 20 bounced 0.41% yesterday off 21-month lows, but remains down 12.26% year to date. I'm hoping for a bit of a better performance over the next few sessions at the stock exchange, but obviously we've got a lot of results coming through. Kenya Airways tomorrow is surely going to report the biggest corporate loss in Kenyan history. We've got Arthur Mining reporting first half results, and then we've got EABL on Friday, hoping to do interviews with all those CEOs over the next two sessions. Once again, thank you, and hope to see you at Mindspeak, Sankara, 10 o'clock start, tea from about 9:30. And we've got Mukisa Kituyu, who is a very, very interesting fellow and well worth visiting. Hope to see you there.